So, Dara, what's your safe word?
My safe word is the swamp. It's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting, right?
Absolutely. And it means go. No, stop word means stop. But this is the swamp, which the name of the podcast happens to also be my safe word. I don't know if this joke really panned out the way I wanted it to, but this is the swamp. We're a movie podcast, and today we will be talking about. I can't even call this a film. We're going to be talking
entertainment?
about...
Is it just entertainment media?
I mean, I was entertained. It is, a piece of media called 50 Shades of Grey. A 2015 work of something.
Here's the thing, is that I think this is the movie that broke me. Like, we've only done... We've done, 23 movies so far, and it only took up until now to just... I can't do it anymore.
This has to be the wackest.
Yeah, so I'm done. I'm done at this point. The swamp is done. We've peaked.
As a show that has the word whack-ass in our acronym, this is the wackest fucking movie we've done so far. And you guys asked for it, because we're doing listener recommended movie month, and we are doing strictly based on the numbers. The ones that the most people have asked for. So this was not in our hands. This was in your fucking hands.
You did this.
You guys wanted this.
I hope
shame
you're happy.
on you. So also just to start off, I guess, 50 Shades of Grey. If you're not familiar, I don't know where... You must have been born pretty recently.
Yeah, what rock have you been under for the last, 7 years?
And not that our show is ever anything less than, PG-13 or R, but this is a movie about sexual situations, BDSM type things. So if that's not your jam, honestly... good for you.
Yeah.
I get it. So if you want to leave, go listen to our Holes episode.
Wholesome.
Or, I don't know. Yeah, something. Just go listen to a different one.
Yeah.
I get it. It's kind of, this movie made
a lot.
me... 50 Shades of Grey, more like 50 Shades of cringe, because I think both of us can say this movie was tough to watch.
I was telling you, I had to get up and pace around my room because I just couldn't stop laughing. I
was like, what's the least sexy thing I could do while watching this not sexy movie? And I was like, I'll build some IKEA furniture. I just moved into an apartment, so I have a ton of just box furniture I've yet to build. So I'm halfway through building a desk. I built a bar cart. I really just got to this relates because Anastasia Steele works in a hardware store. So I just really felt like it was really on brand for this film.
You're trying to go with the flow of the movie.
But I was like, this movie does not deserve any more than 70% of my attention. I need to devote my hands and my brain to something else while this is happening.
No, I sat down and watched. I sat down and watched this. It had my full attention, and that was the wrong move.
It's a wretched film. And no, it has nothing to do with the content. The sexual, the premise.
I don't care.
Is not
fine.
It's not the issue for me.
It's everything else. There is not one thing that is not vile.
Do we want to dive into a little bit of a recap? Because honestly, if you haven't watched this movie but you want to listen to us talk about it, I totally implore you to do so.
It's not worth your time.
Don't watch the movie. Just listen to this little recap. And then don't watch the movie.
Exactly.
I'm sure you're familiar enough with it as a cultural, presence to get enough of an idea. Don't watch this. Unless you're going to get fucking shit-faced drunk. And I can't even think, that maybe would be a fun time with the right group of people to, maybe. But in most situations, this movie is not.
Yeah, I was alone in my bedroom, and I had to, get up and take a shot because I couldn't take it.
It was really something. So to give a little bit of background, a little bit of history about this film, if you don't know, I think this is the most iconic, version of this story that has ever happened, but it has happened a couple of times in recent years with media. So it was a fan fiction.
I love this.
This woman, her name is E.L. James, but she went on fan fiction by Snow Queen Ice Dragon.
I like that you got her name.
E.L. James, aka Snow Queen Ice Dragon, wrote a Twilight fan fiction called Master of the Universe. And the situation was that Edward captures Bella as his, like, sex slave and kind of, like, teaches her the way about BDSM, and then they fall in love, but it's all still the whole, like, vampire situation. Very intertwanglement. But so then an editor came to her and was like, this is good. I don't know if they, like, knew each other, if they were, like, friends or something, and they were a little drunk, and he was like, girl, I saw your fan fiction. That kinky shit, I don't know, it could kind of work.
There's a market for that.
She was like, change up the premise. Make it, detach it from Twilight a little bit, you know? Change the names, and you're good to go. And then she fucking did it, and they are some of the best-selling books in fucking American history. It's crazy. It's crazy.
You worked at the library, so did you have people taking this thing out, like, on the reg?
I don't know. So at the library that I worked at, we had, I don't know if it was like 3 or 4 years, but if a book doesn't go out for multiple years, we just get rid of it, you know? If people aren't at our library, like if people don't take out the book, there's no use for it to take up space on the shelf. And I don't really know who is brave enough to walk into their public library and take 50 Shades of Grey. I honestly think we did have them on the shelf.
Yeah, dude, like, some depraved mom. Come on.
I don't think I ever saw them taken out, though,
Interesting.
in my experience.
Yeah, no, that's one of those books that you buy. You have to buy it.
Yeah, right at, like, Walmart, like, self-checkout. Like, you gotta be sus about it.
You're, like, in a disguise.
Because I wanted to see if the fan fiction was still available, because I honestly was about to peruse it a little bit just for, like, shits and giggles, but it's obviously because now it's a published book that they want you to pay for, like, the fan fiction. I couldn't find on any, like, major platforms. I couldn't find it.
That
like,
would be a read.
I guess I feel like that makes sense, though. You know, if they want you to buy the book, they're not going to keep basically the same thing up, like, for free.
Yeah, no.
Public platform. But I was like, oh my god, like, the fact that this is Twilight is so, if you watch it with the lens of Twilight, it is so obvious. It is so apparent.
Oh, yeah.
I think I think it's crazy. Like, there's one-to-one characters. Only one person of color is supposed to be Jacob, like, essentially, right? Like, her, like, Hispanic friend, her Hispanic photographer friend.
Who's, like, trying to get with her.
Is supposed to be fucking Jacob. Like, are you kidding me?
I really liked it. Was the piano scenes for me, for sure, that did it.
Okay, hold off, because I have a lot to say about that. I have a lot to say about the creepy post-coital piano playing. Are you fucking kidding me? Nothing was worse about Christian Grey than the fact that after he nuts, he needs to bust out a quick Beethoven sniff.
He's, like, playing Clair de Lune.
Wow.
He's like, don't talk to me. You know how, like, guys have, like, post-nut clarity and all that shit?
He's like a composer. He's like, hold on, Anna. I gotta write this down.
Consider me inspired. My favorite thing about that was it was like right after she like lost her virginity to him, right? And he's going and he's doing the post nut piano playing. And she goes and, like, they, like, get back into it or whatever, and he picks her up. And I had to pause the movie because she didn't, like, wrap her legs around him. She was just kind of dangling there. And I was
like, just, frog legs dangling out.
I was like, this looks so wrong. This looks like, you know that TikTok trend where people, like, they, like, mount something and they're like, run now! Like, it's the Harry Potter one.
Once I make my move,
you're free.
Then you're free to check the king.
Harry, it's you.
Now.
I know it is.
Not me.
Not Hermione. You. Like, she could have literally been doing that, and I would be like, yeah, no, that adds up. Oh my god. Anyways.
You're so right. But I guess for a little bit of context.
Yeah, we should probably give, like, an actual recap.
So Anastasia Steele is a really natural name that people have. And so she's played by Dakota Johnson, and she is really innocent. And we know that because she has bangs. And
first of all,
really like,
fuck her bangs, dude. Fuck her bangs. They're so awful.
I love Dakota Johnson. Dakota Johnson owns
No. Not like strictly Dakota Johnson's bangs. I'm talking her bangs in this. Like, the first thing I realized was her bangs were botched. I'm like, oh, honey, you did that yourself.
No, there are some scenes in this movie where her hair looks beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Well, because
the one in particular is, I'm just thinking when she's making breakfast for him, and her hair's in a bun held in by a single pin, and it's just like this beautiful updo with like just the perfect amount of strands, loose strands framing
I was
her
thinking
face.
about that. I was like, how long did hair and makeup take to just do like this perfect messy bun?
It was unnaturally perfect,
right?
And then he pulls out the single
fucked.
thing and he fucks it up, and I'm like, I was like, don't fuck up her bun. It looks so good.
I know she worked so hard on that,
but so she's in her last semester of college.
Which is just wild, honestly.
Completely unbelievable. I did not take the time to Google how old Dakota Johnson was at the filming of this movie, but I fucking promise you she's not 22.
Late 20s.
Or 23.
Late 20s, probably.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Traditionally, if you enter college directly after high school, as is most people in America do, if you enter college when you're 18, you graduate when you're 22, roughly. So even if she was 3 or 4 years, if she took a gap half a century, she's still like just not the right age to be a
Yeah, no, she was supposed to be 21. I looked it up. She was supposed like 21 on the dot.
And so she's in her last semester of college, and she's a literature major, and that's just like so artsy and quirky and just like really cute of her. She's just her little cute little button.
Except she's not cute, because they did the whole like Andy Sachs like needy less Nikki treatment to her. They made her frumpy as hell. They fully were like, okay, they're like, slouch your shoulders. We're gonna put you in the ugliest thing. Like, Dakota Johnson is Hollywood hot, and they were like, okay, we have to make her frumpy.
Right, they're like, this button up, you're gonna button it to the top, and you're gonna wear a cardigan over it, and you're gonna wear like loafers. And like, please sit with hunched posture. Yeah, totally. I totally thought that this was the Amanda Seyfried and Jennifer's body treatment. That she's so hot, but they're like, we need you to come off as like a little dorky. Yeah. And even with no makeup, you're still a 10.
I love it.
So we're gonna have to rely on costume.
I love it too, because right after she fucks, she's glowing. She's a whole new woman. She's gorgeous.
Right, they let her put on like a little bit of highlight.
Like, bitch,
she has like no makeup the first half of the movie, and then they're like, you can wear chapstick now to show that you're a changed woman.
She's like, oh,
you can do like a light mascara.
She's like, dude, your hymen was holding you back. That's all it was.
But basically, she covers for her roommate who's too sick to go interview someone for the school paper, so she just has her roommate do it for her.
I'd have an anxiety attack.
And she goes, and the guy she has to interview is Christian Grey, who's the CEO of this big company. And they say he's, 27?
Yeah.
So she's like, and all her questions were just like pre-written by her roommate, and they're just like, how are you so successful? And he's basically like, these are lame interview questions. But then he's like making fuck me eyes at her, and she's like biting her lip, because she's like, I'm really nervous. oh, I'm nervous. I'm just a little nervous girl. And then basically he's like, I want to know more about you. He like flips the script. He's like, who's doing the interview now? and then there's like, it ends up coming full circle, but there's this scene when she's leaving where she gets in the elevator and he goes like, Anastasia, and she goes like, Christian, and then the elevator closes. Yeah. Which was just like a choice in itself. But then basically for the rest of the film, he takes her out on a date. He like gets in contact with her, and he's like, hey, like, I want you to like come in my helicopter. And she's like, this is crazy.
Yeah. He's seducing her, to put it plainly.
Yeah, well, like with his flagrant acts of like wealth, like displaying his wealth, basically. Like, he can't just like go somewhere and like hang out with her. He has to be like, first, I'm gonna buy you a new dress, and then I'm gonna pick you up in my helicopter, and then we're gonna go from my helicopter into my Ferrari, into my penthouse, and then we're gonna drink the most expensive, like, you know, I'm like, can you pick one?
Yeah, pick one.
Pick one. But basically, and then he's like, okay, he's like, I want you to like be my submissive because that's my thing. He's like, I don't really do girlfriends. I do this like dom sub relationship. It's very particular. I like it a certain way. There's a contract.
And she's like, well, I've never fucked.
Yeah, and he's like, well, and he's like, you know, you can evaluate the contract based on like your preferences. And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, like when you fuck. He's like, when you fuck before, you, like, have things you like. And she's like, I don't know.
I'm not sure about that, because I haven't.
I just haven't done any fucking. And then he all of a sudden goes into primal beast mode. And he's like, holy fucking shit.
He's, like, foaming at the mouth. His
pupils dilate all the way.
You can see the veins start to pop in his, like, neck and forehead. He just gets, like, beet red.
Like, obviously, like, innocence, corruption, kink.
Yeah, like, Jesus.
Just like, holy fucking shit, I'm totally into that. And so he was like, well, here's like, okay, so we can have normal sex. He's like, I will swipe your V card right now. No worries. And she's like, sounds great. So they have very vanilla, traditional, normal sex.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, that was so good. Which I'm like, okay, girl, like, I don't know. He plowed you in missionary for like 40 seconds.
he gave you like
it just looked pretty okay to me.
He gave you 5 pumps, and that was my favorite thing about this movie was that literally he didn't even have to be touching her, but she was already moaning. He could look at her from across the room, and she'd go, ah.
Okay, it started with after their coffee date. So they go their first time out together. He just takes her out for coffee, and he's like asking her a little bit about herself because he wants to know. He's trying to like test the waters, right? Like, what kind of girl is she?
Yeah, he's reading the room.
He's like asking her about like, oh, like you're a literature major. Like, what kind of books do you like? He names a bunch of really generic authors. He's like, was it Jane Austen or Charlotte Bronte who made you fall in love with the books? And I'm just like, okay, you know the names of 2 female authors. Like, go to fucking hell. But he was like, then he immediately is like, okay, tell me about your dad. Tell me about your dad. Tell me about your dad. I want to know. Daddy issues is I can work with that. Tell me. Your family, more specifically your dad.
She's like, my dead dad.
And, oh my God, yeah, that's again, like pupils dilate. He's like, oh, hell yeah. I can work with this.
She's giving me something.
And she's like, yeah, like my dad is dead, and like I have a stepdad, but also I have like 4 stepdads. Like my mom has remarried like 4 or 5 times, and she like makes a joke. She's like, oh, I guess she's just a romantic. And he's like, are you a romantic? And she's like, well, I'm a literature major. I kind of have to.
And then he goes fully soft.
Yeah, and basically this was supposed to insinuate that he's testing the waters if she will be okay with having this kind of strictly sexual thing. Like, he doesn't want somebody who's going to catch feelings, basically. Yeah. He's like, you know, I don't want her to like get too, you know, emotionally, but like, does she seem emotional essentially? And so he's like, okay, well, like, please leave right now, immediately. And she's like, this is so weird. She's like, I don't know, I just like got off my shift at the hardware store where you showed up unannounced and like bought a bunch of random shit. So he takes her outside and he's like, you have to go. And so she's like, okay. And she walks into the street and she like narrowly avoids a bicycle.
This was Twilight, dude.
Yes, exactly. And so the bike is about to hit into her and he like pulls her back and she just moans for like a minute. He like grabs her, you know, to like pull her back, and she's kind of in his arms, and Dakota, like, she's fully like open mouth, like her tongue's even out a little bit, like her eyes roll into the back of her head. She's mid orgasm, I swear. And I'm just like, Anastasia, is your kink getting saved from bicycle accidents? Because that's what it looks like right now. Like, I swear to God, every time he even just like lays a finger on her, she's like, she's quivering, she's quaking. And I'm like, okay, Christian, you're gonna have an easy time with this one, because clearly just like she's just moaning.
Bro.
Women be moaning.
Maybe he's got like that thing that Carol had where it's literally, it's like Like, throw back to the Carol episode, because Carol's, like, literally down there for 2 seconds, and Therese was done. Same thing,
Yeah,
same
right?
thing.
If it was that easy for Christian Grey, though, he wouldn't have to work so hard at it, I gotta
That's
say.
true.
But he says no to her, but then he's like, I can't resist you, basically. Like, you're just so tantalizing
Edward and
to me.
Bella.
So he does all these... Yeah, he can't stay away from her. He even says at one point, he's like something like, you're irresistible to me, or like, I can't help myself but to like follow you around. or whatever.
Yeah.
It's literally so creepy. All throughout the movie, he just shows up at her house, at her work, at wherever she happens to be, and she's physically shaken every
Yeah.
time. She's always like what the fuck?
He literally, like, just
Like,
walked into her house one day with, like, wine and...
That was so the Twilight moment where Bella like wakes up and realizes that Edward watches her while she sleeps. Like, what the fuck? like he's just standing there with 2 glasses of wine, like, hey babe, and she's like, what? How the fuck do you get in my house?
Hey, bestie! And then he proceeds to baby bird wine into her mouth. How have we managed this? How have we managed to find out? This is the second movie we've done where there's baby birding of liquid into someone's mouth.
Never in my life have I ever had any desire for somebody to spit a liquid into my mouth in sexual or otherwise context. Have you seen that Vine, or not Vine, I call them, I'm old, so I call them
God,
Vines,
you're really
TikTok,
dating us right now.
I know, right? Have you seen that TikTok where it's this guy and his girlfriend is like in like a very scantily clad bikini, and she's like shaking her ass, and then he swigs from a bottle of liquor, and he walks over to her mouth, and he's like open, and he spits all the liquor into her mouth. But then his mom is on the boat, and she's like, whatever his name is, she's like, Tony, you're disgusting. Do you know what I'm talking
No,
about?
you have to
There's
show
just, like,
me
this-
that.
Oh my god, he just like, it's this guy who just like does really obscene things in front of his mom, and then every time
I know
she
this
like
guy.
she like freaks out.
I know this guy.
Yes.
Yeah, was it
But there's one-
Tony or some shit like that?
Yeah, and he like spits liquor into his girlfriend's
Yeah.
mouth. Unless you're doing it for the Vine, do not spit things into people's mouths unprompted. I guess maybe that was in the contract that he put in the contract. He's like, I can baby bird you at any time. It's just gonna have to happen.
That's his real like mommy thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, he's like, it is a kink, but it's specifically a bird. It's a bird thing. It's a penguin specifically. So if you could waddle around a little bit, I would appreciate it.
All right, we're getting away from this. So, anyways, they're like,
But then eventually, she kind of comes around to, so he shows her the red room, which is like his room where he does his hardcore shit. And he has all his like BDSM gear, all the whips and the flogs and all the stuff. And he's like, check it out. And she's like, this is a little scary. And he's like, okay, so I need your written consent before we do anything. And not only do I need your written consent, but it's in the form of a contract.
and they go back and forth for a while about it.
Well, so he gives her the contract, and he's like, you're allowed to like negotiate. You can make revisions. Like that's acceptable, which is like, okay, fair. But then, so yeah, they do this little back and forth where she's like, okay, here's the changes I want. Like, I'm not into anal fisting. Take that out.
That shit was so funny. That was one of those moments that like had me cackling. Where she was like, yeah, anal fisting and vaginal fisting, strike it out. And you saw his heart sink. I was like, dog, you just took her V card? How in God's name did you think that was gonna fly?
Right. Also, like, can't you revise this contract at 4 years from now or something? You gotta work her up to it, buddy.
Come on.
Like, when she says, she goes, what's a butt plug?
I hated that. I hated that so much.
Come on. I don't know.
I get it. She's an idiot. But Jesus Christ, is she that fucking stupid? Like, sorry if I'm offending anyone out there who has no idea what a butt plug is, but go do some research.
Yeah, I don't know. If
sound it out. What do you think it is?
Also, do we know when this movie is supposed to take place? Because she does have a flip phone.
I think that was more of like also lending it to like the sort of like needy thing where it's like, oh, she's a lame little like bummy girl. She has a flip phone. You know what I mean? Christian has like a 2015 like iPhone 5.
Yeah, he is the one that hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was just like really driving home the point, like, oh, she doesn't have a lot of
That
money.
she's lame. I don't, well, okay, first off, let's talk about her financial situation, because he kind of does a lot of grand gestures to her, where he like buys her very expensive things. He buys her, at first he buys her these books, these like first edition copy of these books to kind of show her like, hey, like I listened to you. I know that you would like these.
It's like, I took notes.
He sells her car and buys her a new one.
That was an insanely good vintage car. Like, are you fucking stupid, dog?
You also cannot sell a car that doesn't belong to you. They're like, you stole this. I mean, I know he's obviously so powerful and wealthy and like famous or whatever, but if you go to a car place, you try to sell a car where the deed is not in your fucking name, no way in hell are they letting you sell that car.
What does he do, by the way? Did we ever find out what he does for work?
Yeah, so essentially when she's interviewing him, it's very briefly mentioned that he is basically, I think, the CEO. He's just like the head of this company. I think it's called like Gray Inc. or like
Gray House or some shit. I feel like I saw that on a...
Yeah, it's something. But so while she's interviewing him, she says, you primarily deal in telecommunications. So they're like a big communications company. But she said you also, like on the side, you invest in agriculture projects. So I think it's one of those things that they're such a big company that he just has, their family money is in other places too, that their money just makes money and makes money, you know, like big investor, generational wealth type
If he's in telecommunications, I would like in my head to think that this movie and Succession take place in the same universe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's the big fuck, why can't I think of the word? I don't know, competitor.
Yeah, right. He's the rival company.
Yeah, and then of like Waystar or whatever Industries.
But okay, also though, is just like being the CEO of some nondescript company is the most boring fucking thing they could have him do. It make him, I don't know. I mean, if he's gonna be that, you know, it is implied that there's generational wealth because I think his mom is like a surgeon or a doctor or something.
I think so.
And and they like have all these adopted kids and they live in this really beautiful mansion-y house. So yeah, also the parents with all their adopted kids. Okay, Collins. okay. Esme and fucking Carlisle. Okay, Renesmee. But just have him do something
just anything interesting.
Cooler? I don't know. Or at least give him a hobby.
Yeah, right. Oh, he's flying planes.
I don't know. Yeah,
I guess the BDSM is his hobby, I suppose, but...
Ugh, so boring. Like, I wish he, like, collected trains. I wish he was really into model trains.
Even if he had, like, a good coin collection, you know what I mean?
I wish when he was, like, Anastasia, welcome to my world, and then he opens the door to the red room, and it's just floor to ceiling model trains. There's just or like Civil War, like miniature Civil War reenactment, like he does like model Civil War scenes. Oh my god, if Christian Grey was a devout Civil War reenactor, and he had like he's like, I'm gonna have to keep on the Robert E. Lee costume while I fuck. Like that's just my hard line. Like I'm just letting you know.
Oh my god.
That's the situation.
Honestly.
That would have made this movie, that would have been a twist and a turn that I would have.
One of my favorite lines in this movie, this is the like only actual funny line that I think they meant to make funny, was when he was like, I don't make love, I fuck hard. Well, that one too. No, they didn't mean to make that one funny, but that was fucking hilarious. No, he's like, this is my playroom, and she's like, where your Xbox is?
I was so dead. Okay, but wait, so like circling back though to my point about her flip phone is I wanted to know if they were trying to date this movie back even like, because this movie came out in 2015, even dating it back 10 years, I think with the internet still being like kind of new-ish, it might not be unreasonable for kind of a more innocent, uncultured person to not know. I think in 2015 and certainly in today's age, you cannot have any interest or participation in BDSM or even like sexual things, but you at least have some knowledge.
You
about
know
it
what it is.
Everything is just so like
you've heard Rihanna's SNS.
Everybody just talks. Right, or just like a butt plug.
Come on.
14-year-olds know what a butt plug is. Like
are you on
maybe not all
Twitter?
of them, but yeah, right. Like just like it's just things that people talk about. Like even like getting tied up. BDSM just as a general thing. I think people at least know somewhat what even just surface level what it's about. Whereas she is like, so you want to spank me?
That's so crazy.
Huh?
What?
And I'm just like, there is no way that if this movie's actually supposed to take place in 2015, that I'm supposed to believe that this adult woman has zero knowledge. She types the word submissive into Google search at one point.
I hated her. I genuinely hated her character so much.
I know, what about her was so, like, enchanting to him.
It was literally, it was an Edward and Bella situation, because Bella is the dullest motherfucker you could have ever met, and he's like, I need you now. Same thing,
you're sent.
Same idea, absolutely same idea. Like, she was so bland.
At least we knew what her college major was, At least we knew, like, one
she
fact
had
about
an
her,
interest.
One.
Singularly. Only one. You can't give them more than that, because then they become too interesting of a character.
Yeah, then I want to know more. But, yeah, no, she was so dull, and she was so bland, and also she just, like, was totally uninterested in participating in the thing that he cares the most about.
She thought she was being, so like, really funny and cool, like, oh, I'm gonna make him wait, oh, I'm gonna push it off. Like, you know what I mean? She's like, I'm not gonna give him a straight answer. Right, I was like, oh, wow, you're so edgy, dude. Like, don't tell him you're not interested. Don't be a dick.
Right, well, like, she seems so, like, frightened and confused and, like, intimidated by almost everything he, like, proposes, essentially, that I'm like, first of all, for her, like, please evaluate your situation. Like, he's really hot and rich, but, like, don't put yourself in situations like that.
Right.
And he put her in a lot of really, like, situations where she kind of, like, I felt like she would maybe felt like she had to say yes, whereas, like, he, like, flew her to a discreet location. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, if you want to leave, you can get back in the helicopter. And, like, oh my God, that's, like, kind of a lot, But I don't understand why he would be so interested in her, where basically he wants to have things be at a 10. And she's like, we can start at a -6 and maybe work up to a -3. Like, she's like, we can start with just, like, you can put it in me. And then
we'll see how it goes.
Maybe I will consider. Like, she's like, I will consider some.
Yeah, no.
Not even scratching the surface of what this guy wants, because he fully wants to put genital clamps on her. He wants to, like, hang her from the ceiling by her left nipple, and
like him.
But I'm just like, move on.
Him spanking her.
Go find someone else. Him spanking her was the most insane thing she's ever done in her entire life, and he's like, yeah, no, I want to fist this bitch's ass. So. I'm gonna fast forward to that.
Yeah, because we didn't get through, like,
just to recap. No, but just to recap, basically, he's like, I want to do this BDSM shit with you. Here's my contract. Here's the revisions to the contract. He's like, okay, well, you sign the contract, and she's like, I still need time to think about it. But in the meantime, he still will, like, show up to her house, her work, etc. Her graduation.
They be fucking.
And basically, and so he's like, you don't have to sign the contract, but I still want to spend time with you. You can live at my apartment, etc., etc. Also, in the meantime, her roommate starts fucking Christian Grey's brother, which I think probably gets more important in the following movies, but in this movie it just ends up being kind of like okay.
That happened. Oh wow. That was certainly some filler.
And so he like brings her to, he's like, first and foremost, you are not my girlfriend, but do you want to meet my mom and come have dinner with my family? Like, okay, he's like, you're not my girlfriend, we can't sleep in the same bed, that's my rule. But then he, like, I don't know, he, like, really treats her like a girlfriend. He calls
her his girlfriend to people.
Yeah, right, and, like,
pretty much the way weird. And the way the film pretty much goes is, like, sort of like that, like, they're doing this back and forth, she's not gonna sign the contract, he's treating her like a girlfriend, but he's like, no, you're not my girlfriend. And then she's like, what's wrong with you? Why do you want to do this? Da 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 da. And it goes into like this whole big thing of, she's like, you need to show me the worst it can be, just so I know, so I understand you.
Yeah.
And then
well, that's what I was gonna circle back to, because we were talking about the spanking scene. So basically, he is like, I'm fucked, in that he said, I'm 50 shades of fucked up, which, oh my god, was if I didn't live in an apartment complex where people could hear me scream, if I still lived in my parents' basement, I would have let out a shriek when he said, I'm 50 shades of fucked up. Are you
Trust me,
kidding me?
I probably screamed loud enough for both of us because I don't live in an apartment complex.
I was dead. And so he tells her, I think he says that his mom was a crackhead and a prostitute, were his words, and like that she was a bad parent, and then basically that she died, and then that's when he got adopted or whatever. Like but that's why he wants to be abusive towards women. He's like, I'm not just a dominant, like I want to
beat women,
essentially. Right, like that's like kind of the implication. He kind of like admits like, it's not just a sexual thing for me, like I want to hit you. And she's kind of like, okay, well, like, show me. She's like, basically like, if you're gonna get me to agree to this contract, let's do a trial run. Like, if you want to quote unquote punish me, if this whole thing is like, if I roll my eyes at you and you're gonna punish me, like, how bad is it ever gonna get? Like, show me that, and like maybe I can see. Which honestly, Anastasia, good call, because do a little trial run. Dip your toes in the water before you.
This is like one of two instances in the movie where she was actually smart.
Right, and so, but she's like, okay, show me. And then he brings her to the red room. She strips down. She like lays over a table. And what does he use? Like a flogger, right?
And he hits her 6 times.
Basically,
specifically.
He hits her 6 times, and then she's sobbing, and she's like, "Don't ever come near me."
It's like, bitch,
again.
you wanted to see.
And first off, I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna call her a victim, because I don't think she's a victim per se in this situation, but I don't want to sound victim blamey. But A, she could have used the safe word. B, she totally knew what she was in for. C, that's as bad as it's gonna get. Anastasia, he's gonna hit you 6 times. Literally, he could have been like, I want to perform a kidney transplant.
I was gonna say, he could have a blood kink, dog. Come on.
Yeah, you're right. He could have been like, I need you to vomit on command and then eat it back up. Like, it could have been so much
I need
worse.
to Cleveland
like,
steamroll you, dog.
I'm gonna pull out one of your back molars with a pair of pliers.
I need to rip out every single one of your fingernails, one by one.
Bamboo shoots under the fingernails. We're gonna reenact the torture that they did. He's like, I'm gonna Guantanamo Bay the shit out of you.
Let me waterboard you, actually.
But I'm like, I don't know. Also, they're in a room that is head to toe furnished in like a BDSM sex gear. There's whips all over the walls. He has like 6 different shapes of switches, floggers, paddles. He's just used as a flogger on you 6 times. Girl, he's got a whole wall full of them. Obviously, they're gonna get put to use. Like, okay, first of all, Christian, A, that is not as bad as it gets, so you're a fucking liar. And C, Anastasia, are you kidding me? Like, I get that you lost your virginity 2 weeks ago, and that this is all very new, but A, you asked for it, and like, that's fine. It couldn't have
been so much worse. It literally could have just been so much worse. That's the whole thing that catches me. Like, dog.
That should have been a relief. That should have been a relief to her. She's like, oh, thank God. This is as bad as it's gonna get.
He just smacked my ass pretty hard. Jesus.
And so that's how the movie ends, and she basically is so shaken up by this that she's like, I'm done, this is over. And he's like, are you kidding me? And she's like, I'm for real, I want my car back, I'm giving back all the gifts you gave to me, like, this is over. And he like still kind of comes at her, and she says, no. And then he like, oh, he's like, this is for real. And then she gets in the elevator, and he goes, Anastasia,
Christian.
and she goes, Christian. And like there's tears in her eyes, and then the elevator closes, and that's the end of the film.
That was the most wild thing to me, is that's where the film ended. And I get it because it's a trilogy, so they needed to leave you on a big cliffhanger. But honestly, I was like, what? What the fuck? It ends there?
But basically, I was really curious to see, and can I dare propose right now that we never cover any of the sequels?
I kind of want to.
I don't want to have to watch them. No. Well, I did just like a skim of the plots on Wikipedia after this because I needed to know what came after. Because I remember from the ads, because these movies came out in what, like 2015, 16,
like
and 17
15,
or something? I think
17 and 18, I think.
But I remember the previews coming out, and like there's a hostage crisis situation that happens at one point. Like at one point Anastasia's holding a gun. Like it gets dramatic really quick, and I think it's like Christian's dark past catches up with him or something or other. And like I think more shit with the family also gets involved, so you get more of the brother that's fucking the friend, and also like Rita Ora is his sister, I guess.
I don't know.
But obviously they get back together in the second movie. Like, there are not 3 movies about their amicable breakup.
It's just her processing the entire thing and how traumatic it was for her. The whole next movie is just her going to therapy.
As she should, though. Like, nothing about this was healthy. No. And I don't, like, I think that most people in today's day and age know that this, you know, book, movie, whatever, this series, this, you know, media what thing that it is not a good representation. Like, I think it's pretty common knowledge that these are shit, that these are, like, ill-informed, and that they're basically, I don't know, just, like, kind of hokey. I think everyone kind of knows that. Even the people who like it, I think, have some... I hope that they at least have some
BDSM
sort of
community has, like, popped off
horrible.
After this and been like, no! This is not what we're about!
Right, well, because if this is gonna be like the best sort of representation or whatever of this specific lifestyle choice, sexual preference, whatever, it shouldn't be so manipulative and horrible, because what he's doing to her is like actual abuse.
Oh, 100%.
Because so basically he has this contract, and he's like, I'm not gonna do anything to you until you sign the contract, and then he immediately starts groping her and making out with her in an elevator. Which, like, to say that she also wanted to do that or not is, like, she definitely probably did. He's really hot and she was into it. But like, throughout the film, he keeps being like, I'm not going to do anything until you sign this. And she doesn't sign it. And then he proceeds to have sex with her, take her on vacation, like, do all these different things to her, spank her, etc., etc. Where I'm like, okay, if you're being so, like, hardo about this contract, why even have one if you're going to continuously be like, let's test the waters of how far I'm willing to push this, like, virginal girl, you know? It was just gross. It was gross. It's manipulative, especially with the cases of his money. Yeah. I think, like, him giving her these, like, really
expensive gifts,
ostentatious gifts, and like flying and showing up places unannounced, and like giving her a room in his like apartment or whatever. The whole thing was just like very financially manipulative to me. Especially she's supposed to be this broke undergrad student who works at a hardware store, but first of all, that apartment that her and her friend are living at the beginning,
what broke bitch can't afford that?
I don't know what city they're supposed to be in. I think they're supposed to be
in, like, I think it was, like, Portland, and then they moved to Seattle, I think, which, one of my favorite things about this movie is, like, you see her driving into Seattle, like, for the first time to interview him, and she's like, whoa, oh my god, like, big deer eyes kind of thing, as if she's in, like, New York or London. I'm like, bitch, it's Seattle. Like, maybe I'm not doing it justice, but, like, I don't think it's that grand.
I don't know. Grey's Anatomy takes place there, so you can meet some hot doctors.
Fair
in
enough,
Seattle.
I guess.
Because Grey's Anatomy is real. I don't know. I've never been there. All I know is that's where Starbucks started, and that's where the Space Needle is. So, if any of you listeners are from Seattle, let us know. Is it really that majestic and grand? Yeah. Maybe I'll visit sometime.
Should I be enticed? Yeah.
Well, where was I going to be going with this?
Should we call Jen?
Call Jen in for chocolate versus vanilla.
Chocolate versus vanilla.
Basically, because she like called me and she was really sad. And she's like, I guess I can just text.
No.
And I was like, Jen, like, No.
As
No
if we'd
way.
cut
So I'm
Jen
gonna call her
out. Come
N-word.
on. She pretty much hosts this with us at this point. Well, Jen's here to do chocolate and vanilla with us.
Hey.
All right, do we have a theme this week?
Yes, we do. The theme is movies that have numbers in their title. Okay, all right.
Jen did not want to go the sexual route this week, and for that I do not blame her. She's like, how can I spin this to be wholesome? Which I think is really good. Movies with number in the title. I'm really excited about this one.
Okay. Right. Okay, you guys ready? Yes. Well, chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla. Chocolate. 9 to 5 or 16 candles?
Ooh, 9 to 5. I could never go against Dolly.
9 to 5, yeah. I just picked up a Dolly Parton's Greatest Hits album, so. I would say 16 Candles, because I think you guys should do, like, the John Hughes movies. They're so good.
Is that the one with Long Duck Dong, though?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that just doesn't fly with me. I get that it was the 80s, but, like, fuck, are you fucking kidding me with that shit?
I know. Yeah. Back in the day. 101 Dalmatians or 500 Days of Summer?
Fucking 101 Dalmatians, man. 500 Days of Summer gave a bunch of fucking soft boys the courage to be abusive. So I'm gonna say dogs. Dogs over men. That's what I say.
Yeah, I'm also gonna say dogs over men and go 101 Dalmatians. Okay, me too.
But I will say 500 Days of Summer has a really good soundtrack. That's the one redeeming quality of that movie. But moving on, sorry.
Three Stooges or Three Musketeers?
Three Musketeers, gotta go OG.
Yeah, same.
I would say the Three Mouseketeers, the Mickey Mouse version.
Ooh, even better.
That's the rendition of Three Musketeers that I most associate with.
Uh-huh. I would go Three Musketeers, too. 27 Dresses or 4 Weddings and a Funeral?
I don't think I've ever seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral, so I guess I'll go with 27 Dresses. But isn't the point of that movie is that, like, she's not married, but she tries on wedding dresses or something, right?
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, right, like, she's the bridesmaid. I don't know, I don't like that movie either. But I guess I'll say it, because I can picture the DVD cover distinctly in my head. I won't call it iconic, but, like, definitely whoever did the graphic design for the cover of 27 Dresses deserves a raise.
They did have that one really good scene, that Benny and the Jets karaoke scene, too, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I'm going to say 4 Weddings and a Funeral, though. Okay, I'll go with the 27 Dresses. 1984 or 2001 Space Odyssey?
1984 was a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know the
Okay.
book. I guess I'll go 2001 Space Odyssey. I guess. I didn't even know 1984 was a movie. They didn't even make us watch. Is it bad? It must be bad. They didn't even make us watch it in high school. And everyone had to read that book in high school.
I don't even remember. But I couldn't say. Honestly, I'm in the exact same boat as Dara here. I didn't know it was a movie. So I'll go with 2001 Space Odyssey. Right. Same here, 2001. 17 again or 13 going on 30?
13 going on 30. Are you kidding me? That movie, yep. I would say to anyone out there who isn't familiar with what the young actress looks like today, impeccable casting for the young to old version that they do. If you look what the girl who plays the 13-year-old, she looks just fucking like Jennifer Garner. Today, to this day, like as an adult, doppelganger type shit. Like they picked that casting so impeccably. I cannot stress this enough. I would say that is one of the best young to old castings I have ever seen in a movie in my life. And Mark Ruffalo's in it. And they eat those candies. Razzles,
yeah. I think, though, the young to old casting for Mark Ruffalo, like, I never believed that was him as a kid.
Nah, me either. But it didn't matter. He wasn't the titular role.
Yeah, true. She's the same. Dude, she's literally the same.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
It's like her and then the girl who plays the young version of Cassie from Euphoria. You know, when they do the, in Euphoria, they do the flashback to the blonde cheerleader, and they show her as, like, a young kid, and it's just, like, so unbelievable that that's not actually a young version of her. Those are the two that, like, really stand out to me as, like, at least for actresses, like, a young to old, or, like, you know, younger, older casting in a movie that has just been, like, crazy. I have a lot of like headcanons about who should play who, like, that hasn't been done yet, but, like, you think about it and you're like, oh my god, those two actors look so much alike. Why haven't they played father, son, or brothers, or old and young versions of each other? You know, I'm a little obsessive about it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Emily, you have to say if you like which one you like better.
Sorry, 13 going on 30, Jesus. Same here, 13 going on 30. Super 8 or 8 Mile?
I remember seeing Super 8 in the theater and being, like, really pumped about it. I don't know, 8 Mile as a biopic? Did that, like, kind of start the biopic trend? Am I wrong to say that? Like,
honest, I wish I could say. Couldn't say.
I don't really know. I guess I'll go...
You think Bohemian Rhapsody was, like modeled after 8 Mile?
Yeah. Am I wrong? Am I wrong to say that?
I don't know.
Or just, like, you know, like, the movies about, like, people in the music industry? I don't know. I like Eminem, and even if he wants to kill his wife, at least he makes really good music, so I'll go with 8 Mile.
Fair enough. I'll also say 8 Mile. I'm gonna take Super 8. Ocean's 11 or Magnificent 7?
Is Ocean's 11 the all-girl remake?
No, I think that was Ocean's 8.
Oh, Ocean's 11 is the...
I think Ocean's 11 is the original.
Okay. The one with, like, George Clooney?
Yeah.
And then what is Magnificent 7?
Oh, it's that Western, and they did it in, like, 1960, and then they remade it pretty recently with your favorite Chris Pratt.
Ew, fuck a Western. I'll go with Ocean's 11 because I love like, let's get the gang back together. Everybody has a different skill, and we're gonna pull off a heist movie that, no matter how bad that is, I'll always find some joy in it. And I did not despise the all-female. I'm a hateful, spiteful bitch, and I hate the feminism wins all-female reboot of whatever. Like, I fucking hate that shit. But I will say, the all-female reboot of Ocean's 11, I guess Ocean's 8 was pretty good. Rihanna was in it. Awkwafina was in it. I think it was a fun time, so I'll go with Ocean's 11.
I'll go with Ocean's 11 as well. Yep, same. We're agreeing on everything. 127 hours or 12 years a slave?
12 Years a Slave.
Yeah.
Lupita.
Yeah,
you're telling me to choose essentially between James Franco and Lupita Nyong'o? Are you kidding me? 12 Years a Slave. Fuck James Franco. James Franco.
Fantastic Four or I Am Number 4? Fantastic Four.
Yeah, okay, so Fantastic Four, are we talking about, like, the ones with Chris Evans and Jessica Alba? Or are we talking it just, like, as a Marvel concept, because there has been the remake with Kate Mara and Jamie Bell, and you know what I mean? So is there, like, a specific one you had in mind? Because I do remember really liking the old ones as a kid. We had them both on DVD, 1 and 2, The Silver Surfer. I remember liking those a lot.
Yeah, I think I was thinking the original, to be honest.
I remember liking those movies. And then, wait, what was my second choice?
Oh, I Am Number 4.
Oh, I Am Number 4, Jen, is just a book series that you really like that happened to catch the wave of teen dystopian novels that got turned into the movie, and it was on the last leg of that trend, and this movie did not get the budget that the other ones got, and
It is true, and they're not gonna make the rest of them, I know, but
Jen,
Number 4, the Lorien Legacies.
I'm not gonna not to expose you, it's not a bad thing, but these book series, so the first one is I Am Number 4, but it's a whole series, right? And you would go to Barnes & Noble the fucking day these came out. You were like, the new one came out and I have it on pre-order and we have to go pick it up at Barnes & Noble right now, because if
Me and all the other 13-year-olds.
Right? Like, and I remember at that point, I was too old to be interested in them, and I was just like, okay, Mom, like, I guess we can go to the mall to pick up your
Boy
teen
Scout
book.
friends would be reading it with me. Book club! Did you pick up those two?
You said Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah, Fantastic Four for sure. 21 Jump Street or 21?
21. What's 21?
Oh, 21's the movie with
Kevin Spacey.
Yes, and they count cards at the casino.
Okay, so 21 Jump Street all I remember is that Dad was watching it one time, and I was like, it was just on TV or something, and Dad was watching it, and I like came to sit in the family room for like a second, and it happened to be the scene where somebody gets their penis like blown off of their body, right? And it was just like, I was a weird age, I was like 14, I just remember being like, oh god, I have to like watch this thing where this guy has his dick cut off like on a TV with my dad right now, and I remember just like not being about it. And I will say that we got to watch the movie 21 in my high school statistics class. They were like, this movie is about blackjack, which is about counting cards, and sometimes you can use cards to do statistics problems, and it's the last day of school, so we're just gonna watch the movie 21 and span it over 5 days. So I liked that I didn't have to do math and I got to watch a movie, so I guess I'll say 21, even though Kevin Spacey is a piece of shit. Sorry, that was a monologue.
No, that's fair. I'm gonna go with 21 Jump Street because I haven't seen 21, and it definitely did make me laugh when I was 14.
Yeah, but I bet you didn't have to watch it with your dad.
Yeah, that's true. I would say 21. I thought that was a really good movie. 10 Things I Hate About You or How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
Absolutely 10 Things I Hate About You. We stan
100%.
Heath
Yeah,
Ledger
no
in this house. That's all I have to say. And a baby Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Are you kidding me? I love it. We love to see it.
Sixth Sense or 6 Degrees of Separation?
I have never seen Sixth Sense, but I know the twist, which is why I've never seen it. I know the twist. Why would I watch it if I know the twist? You know what I mean? But I think it's so iconic that that's the movie that everyone knows the twist of. You know what I mean? Like the fact that I've never even seen it, but through cultural, just like osmosis, I know what it is. I think that's pretty iconic. So I'll go with the Sixth Sense.
Wait, I don't know the twist.
You know, okay, so skip ahead like a minute if you've never seen the Sixth Sense and you really don't want to know what the twist is. But do you know, baby, Haley Joel Osment, iconic child actor? He is like, I see dead people, and you realize that some of the characters in the movie have been dead the whole time. They're ghosts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the main character has been dead the whole time.
It's
yeah.
like M. Night Shyamalan's like debut.
Yeah, the M. Night Shyamalan twist. You know that?
Yeah, oh yeah, I know.
The classic. His splash, his essence, his accent to every film is the twist you didn't see coming. That is the OG, like the fact that the main character was actually a ghost the whole time and could only be seen through the eyes of child Haley Joel Osment.
Interesting. Huh, yeah, no. That just reminds me of friggin' Murder House. Of course, but that's literally where they snagged it from. I can't wait. I want to see his new movie. Was it called Old or something like that? It's with like Alex Wolff and that girl from Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, I am typically a fan of M. Night Shyamalan. I would say that even though some of his movies are a little questionable and not always the best, that I do have a good time watching them, because he does always add that little like, oh my god, what a twist.
Yeah, it's needed. Honestly, I'm pretty impartial on this question because I don't think I've seen either of the movies.
Go for Sixth Sense. Go for a good Bruce Willis moment.
Yeah, I'll just say Sixth Sense just because
we've been talking about it for the past 10 minutes.
I'll go with Sixth Sense, too. This is my last one. Too Fast, Too Furious, or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Jen. You're telling me to pick between a Fast and Furious movie and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito can adopt me now, because the fact that you even asked me this question is offensive.
Yeah, I'm saying One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as well. Well, I am going with Fast and Furious franchise.
Oh, you mean Too Fast, Too Furious?
Furious. That was a good round, Jen. Thank you. That was everything. Yeah. How are you guys? You guys are good? Yeah.
I'll call you after this. But thank you so much for joining us remotely. Maybe we can figure out a better way to do this in the future. But you know, technology is hard, and so I'm really glad that we could call in Jen today to keep up with our tradition of doing chocolate and the vanilla as a nice interim segment.
Jen.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right, thanks, Jen. Bye. Bye.
I honestly just think that this movie could have improved by being a little bit more self-aware and marketing itself towards the audience of people who were going to... Well, obviously it didn't need to change anything because it did fine for itself. This movie did financially so well.
100%.
It was a craze. It was a phenomenon. The books were sold out in all stores. The movies, I'm sure, did fine. I don't think they, you know... They achieved what they wanted to achieve.
They made
with
billions
this,
of dollars.
But
everyone's mom read them.
As an ironic, right? Jen definitely.
Well, Jen's got taste.
Jen specifically was like, I don't have to make chocolate or vanilla like sexual this week, do I? And I was like, no, please don't.
Thank God. God bless Jen.
But as an ironic viewer, I wish that they had leaned a little more into, like, realizing that this movie was fucking ridiculous and, like, taken some of... Because I haven't read the books, but I know from, like, you know, hearing people talk about it, that just the dialogue is unbearably awkward and clunky and just, like, so confusing and uncomfortable to read. And I would say that does translate some... Right? Like, I think it does translate to some degree to the movie because their chemistry is very odd and awkward and a lot of it just, like, doesn't make a ton of sense. Both of their, you know, situations and desires and, you know, romantic interests, like, just don't align. It's very weird, but I just really think if they had leaned more into the, like, uncomfortable, awkward dialogue and made it more funny, because there were definitely moments that I laughed at that were not supposed to be funny. If they doubled the amount of those, I think this movie could be one that, like, people watch as a joke.
It's one of those ones
better,
like,
you know what I mean?
Like, if someone says, "Hey, let's watch 50 Shades of Grey," I'm gonna be like, I have to leave. Like, are you all right? Why?
Right, like, Twilight is objectively not a good movie, but it has enough of that. Well, like, first of all, the cultural flair of the early 2000s and the Twilight craze, but also, like, there are just enough clunky, funny moments that just make it so worth watching. Whereas, I don't know, this, I just don't think, and there were just, like, moments that felt so forced to me.
Like, they did cast this pretty well, and that you can see the Twilight in it. You can see Twilight written all over it.
I don't think he's a bad actor, but I don't think he's a particularly good actor. I just think
well, that's exactly
really
it.
hot.
No, that's all I had to say.
And Dakota Johnson, I think, tried her best with this because she's great. She's in other things and she's great. And she was just really dealt an unfortunate. She was, like, dealt an unfortunate hand with this movie. Like, this was, like, her agent really did her dirty with this one, you know?
I wonder if he feels the same way as, like, you'll see, like, the Robert Pattinson interviews being like, oh, I fucking hated Twilight. That was the worst time of my life. I wonder if he's there. You know what I mean? I would assume. I just don't really, like, know what else he's really been. And he was in... Nothing really.
He was in that show Once Upon a Time, I remember. I used to watch that when I was, like, in middle school.
Yeah. It's like a CW show.
But he was in that show, but I don't really, like, I looked up his IMDb, and he's been in things here and there, but he hasn't really...
Nothing notable. It's just this. Like, I'd like to think that he's a better actor, but it's like, well, dude, show me. You know what I mean? I couldn't say.
It is interesting that you bring up casting, though, because I was, like, wondering if they had maybe casted somebody with a little bit more of charisma, if the whole dynamic between them would have become a little less creepy and a little more believable. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because he, to me, comes off as unlikable.
Oh, yeah.
When he's trying to be flirtatious towards her.
He's being a dick.
And, like, he's either being mean or just being fucking creepy. Like if he had added a little more, or if it may be a different person in this role who could have added a little more like humor or zest or just a little bit more likability to the character, you could maybe see the duality of like he's a really likable and good guy in the streets, but sadist in the sheets, I guess.
A woman beater in the sheets. Like fully.
But
I remember.
So I looked it up. Though,
people that were being cast. I saw Ryan Seacrest.
No. That was somebody
who
had mentioned in an interview with Ryan Seacrest that they were in the running for this role.
So we definitely read the same article.
Yeah. So originally, E.L. James said that Ryan Gosling was the prototype. That is the.
Could you imagine sweet little Ryan Gosling?
And obviously, he never auditioned. He was never involved. But that was her, that was her statement. And then I looked, and Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh my god, what did he say? He was like, yeah, I would be the perfect Christian Grey. Like, dude, calm down.
He said something like it would be like the acting challenge of a lifetime or something.
Like, really? Are you sure?
I don't know, dude. You're the clown from It. I think that really tested
No, that was
your
Bill
limits.
Skarsgård. That was his brother. Actually, Alexander Skarsgård probably could do this because he was the one in Pretty Little Lies that beat his wife.
I was just gonna say, I was picturing Bill Skarsgård the whole time when I was reading that article. No. Alexander Skarsgård is very believable for this role, actually. I could really see
he
that
totally
for him.
could have. Yeah.
And then the other two who were like really up for it were Ian Somerhalder, who was from Teen Wolf, what's the other one? Vampire Diaries. He was also in the show Lost, which is how I know him because I'm old, but he was in Vampire Diaries. And I think maybe he would have the sort of sexual energy and charismatic charm to carry. I think like maybe that could have been a good choice, but also I don't really know. I don't know enough about it. And then Chase Crawford, who's from Gossip Girl, who also you've seen The Boys, right? He plays the fish guy.
I actually just started watching Gossip Girl because the new HBO one just came out, and I tried to start watching that, and I was like, I can't do this. I need to like do the original. But he could have totally done it, I think.
So those were the three, though, in that article I read, that the three who were, like, in somewhat, contention for the role. Yeah. And then also Lucy Hale.
I saw that.
We mentioned frequently on this pod. Lucy Hale auditioned for the role of Anastasia Steele. So I just think...
could you imagine?
If it was Lucy Hale... Dude. If it was Lucy Hale and Chase Crawford, it would just be like a CW show. Like, it would just be like...
If Dakota Johnson was struggling with this, could you imagine Lucy Hale?
That poor girl.
No, I was gonna ask, what did you eat and drink with this?
I built my IKEA desk, and I didn't eat anything, and I just drank wine because it was the only thing we had. But I think this is my like take on what you should do is. You should, because the only context in which you should watch this movie is in an ironic way, is in like a let's make fun of a way. So I think you should eat and drink the least sexy, because this movie is obviously trying to be sexy and it's not. Yeah. Eat the least sexy food you could possibly think of.
Get like a McDonald's like meal.
I'm thinking garlic and onion bagel.
Nice.
Clam chowder. Like a baked potato, maybe. Like, what is the worst food you can think of to eat, and then if you were to fuck after, that it would just be nauseating, like a heavy soup?
We talked recently, and we talked about how Henry wanted to get a garbage plate because you're up in upstate New York now.
So a garbage plate, for those who don't know, I live currently in Syracuse, but Rochester, New York is about an hour or so north of us. And Rochester, New York is really famous for these things called garbage plates, which I am not down with. But you said you made one for yourself.
Yeah. I tried to make one for myself, me and my roommate, because we weren't going up to Rochester anytime soon, but we wanted to try it. And someone correct me if I'm wrong, but what it is, it's pretty much this plate, and it's got like 4 different things, like components, I guess. So it's mac salad piled with like not hash home fries, pretty much, and then you go and you make this meat sauce sort of thing that you put on it, and then you can either have like a hot dog or a sausage or hamburgers or cheeseburgers on top of that, and that's the whole meal. And you put like onions and like ketchup and mustard on it. It's like probably it's very American. You know what I mean?
Every photo I've Googled has both ketchup and mustard drizzled. Like, in
slathered,
hordes
absolutely
on the top.
slathered.
Yeah, my perception of it is that it's like a hamburger and like hot dogs just on a plate, and then you pile on top of it just like mush.
Pretty much. Yeah, no, that's it. But that is the least sexy thing that I could think for you to eat.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like a milkshake.
Potato salad. Eat some room temp potato salad with this movie. And like drink a double IPA, like something real heavy.
Whatever's gonna get you bloated to fuck.
Oh my god, I have to tell you about this beer I recently. So I'm not like a huge beer drinker.
Okay.
Like if somebody gives one to me, like sometimes like a sour or something.
We agree on a sour, right?
Yeah.
I
It's like some
sour.
beers I can get down with. And so there is a brewery pretty close to my new apartment, and so we're like, let's check it out. And I go there, and they had a beer on tap that was 14.5% ABV.
Fucking way. Okay.
And that's for point of reference, beer is usually 4 or 5 ABV, and wine is usually like 12. So this was a strong wine level. This was 14.5% ABV. So obviously I had to
Isn't
get
that
it.
like a Four Loko? That's like what a Four Loko is.
Yes. And so I got it, and it was black as night, and it tasted clockably like balsamic salad dressing. It was fucking amazing. It was like almost a little salty. Like
I
it was
love
like
this
literally like a big old cup of balsamic salad dressing that I just guzzled down, and then it was 14.5, so I had like 2 of them, and I was set for the night. It was awesome. So that was my recent experience with beer. That was like quite good. So I think if you can find like a whack fucking balsamic vinaigrette beer,
that's the move. Yeah,
because I would say like usually we try to be somewhat true to the film. We think about like what do they eat and drink in the movie. Like if you're throwing a party, you're gonna do not throw a genuine 50 Shades party. Like don't like wear lingerie, don't like wear a teddy and drink white wine. Like that's what they want. That's what the man wants you to do. That's what big Hollywood wants you to do. No.
You gotta dress in the least sexy thing you can find, the least sexy meal you can have, and the least sexy drink. That's it. You have to go the exact opposite.
Like wear a morph suit and like eat through your morph suit. Disgusting.
If you can't, because I just mentioned this, if you can't find a 14% beer, I say get a Four Loko. Just do it. Get a Four Loko.
Four Lokos would be really good with this movie. You're already just treating yourself like garbage by making yourself watch this movie. So just continue to treat yourself by garbage and eat something disgusting and drink something disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think thinking in the vein of like...
Hey, treat your body like Christian Grey would treat you.
Are you kidding? Christian only wants you to drink kale smoothies and eat salads because he needs to keep your bowel movements regular because he will be fisting your ass. So there cannot be any shit up there.
This is you beating up your body like he would beat you up.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even want to do fuck, marry, kill for this shit.
I think I can do it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say that the 3 characters who get the most screen time are Anastasia, her roommate, and Christian.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna say that those are the 3 main, who are you doing for those 3?
Okay.
Because that's somewhat reasonable.
I'm gonna marry her roommate because she's got a good vibe. She's like a normal person. I'm gonna, as much as I hate her, I'm gonna fuck Anastasia because she needs some calming presence. She needs she needs the most basic thing you can give her, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
She deserves it. She deserves it, vanilla.
Exactly. and then I'll spoon her afterwards. You know.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's all. This whole movie. She's like, you don't want to cuddle after.
And then I'm gonna kill Christian because he's horrible.
Right, isn't that like a whole big part of it, is that if you're gonna like hit someone aggressively during sex for your own pleasure, that afterwards you kind of have to like give them a hug?
Yeah, no, you
otherwise like mentally that's exhausting.
That's like a thing. I think it's there's like a name.
Aftercare.
Yeah,
Aftercare.
Yeah, the name for it. Because if you don't, then you have like, it's like, I think it's like almost like when you do Molly and then all of your serotonin like drops to like the bottom of like the well sort of thing.
Well, yeah, because if you're getting like hit like that, your brain might register it as trauma.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean? Because it's like not physically supernatural. So afterwards, if you like drink a glass of water, have a hug, have a hot bath, you know what I mean? Like you just gotta take care of yourself. And Christian Grey's like, absolutely not. He's like, I want you kneeling in this room, dehydrated at 24 hours of the day. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. But what would you say?
Okay, so like my gut instinct tells me, fuck Christian Grey, so he buys me a nice car or something. You know what I mean?
That's
but clearly
smart,
it takes more. Clearly it takes more than that. If I'm like, you can do something gross to me like once and my student debt is gone. Like yes, but I know that's not the situation.
He's a needy guy. He's super needy.
He would show up to my work and I'd be like, can you leave?
Yeah, can you? I'm a working girl. You can't be here.
Also, I not to get too off the topic, but there is the scene where he shows up to her job at the hardware store and he tries to buy all these things to insinuate like sexual things to her. Like he buys zip ties, he buys rope, he buys like all these things that are like, you know, like he's gonna use them for BDSM type stuff. And like just don't fucking buy your sex gear at Home Depot. That's just, if you like, there's actual places where you should buy that 100%. Stuff, and it's not at a hardware store. Like that's how you get fucking rope burn. That's how you like cut the circulation off of your hands. Like if you're going to, this was so uneducational for all of the suburban moms who went out and saw this because they thought it was going to be spicy and fun. They're showing up to the Home Depot buying zip ties. Like, no, Susan, that's gonna fucking cut off your circulation and be shit. You gotta venture out, go to Adam and Eve.
Yup.
Online.
They're professionals. Like, they make this for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? I just think like there are a lot of parts of this movie that for people who maybe don't have all of the knowledge about, like, you know, I think this could be really misinformative for a lot of things.
100%.
Like don't fucking buy your sex toys at Home Depot is what I'm getting at. So anyways, I totally wouldn't fuck Christian Grey because he would do some whack shit and make me go on a cleanse diet. Yeah. And that's not cool. So imagine that's the thing I think is the worst out of all the things he wants her to do. The diet. I'm like he wants her to go on a diet? That's ridiculous. If he was like, you can't drink and you have to eat healthy, I'd be like,
fuck off. Can't do it. Sorry. That's my deal breaker. Anal fisting, fine. But if you're telling me I can't drink wine and have some French fries, nope, deal's off.
Right, in the negotiations, I'm like, I will trade the anal fisting for my ability to eat a bagel in the morning. Like, Jesus.
I'd say that's fair.
But anyways, kill Christian Grey. Totally kill Christian Grey. Yeah. I might have to do the same thing as you because I'm definitely not marrying Anastasia because she fucking sucks. She fucking sucks. I would say maybe I would marry Christian and then like find a way to murder him, but he literally has like several weapons in his home. Yeah. So he would definitely kill me first. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Yeah. Marry the roommate. Fuck Anastasia, but just like, ugh, my God. It would be insufferable, and then I'm gonna kill Christian.
You can't do it. And what would you follow this up with? Because I have mine picked out, like, very firmly.
I do too, but I want you to go first.
I think you have to do the exact opposite of this, and like we said, with, like, our food and our wine pairings and all that shit, I think you should watch Paddington.
That's fucking amazing. That is perfect. You need to feel the opposite of the way this movie makes you feel. And absolutely, completely, I agree that it's amazing. It might be too jarring of a shift, to be quite honest. It's like when you jump in the cold pool and then you get in the hot tub, you know? But it could be nice. I could see that being quite nice.
What do you have?
Okay, mine is a little similar actually, but mine's quite a unique connection.
Okay.
So
let me have it.
the opening credits for this movie
Yes.
begin to roll.
Yeah.
And I'm paying attention and I'm watching the credits. And who composed the score of this movie?
Score and soundtrack were like one of the only redeeming things about this movie, but go on.
Exactly. The soundtrack is amazing. Absolute bangers all the way through. I cannot believe this is what this movie had an insane budget. You can tell,
They had Beyonce on 2 different tracks.
Right?
She remixed her own song. Come on.
Crazy. But so the score also quite good. Guess fucking who? Danny Elfman.
Okay.
He composer of such works as The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
And he was in Oingo Boingo. Like, Danny Elfman, to me, is my personal favorite movie composer because I think everything he does has that, like, haunting, Halloween-y, iconic,
sure.
and a work of his that I think has surfaced quite recently on Twitter. Or not Twitter, TikTok. Okay, so Danny Elfman composed the music for this, but he also has done a lot of other like it fucking knocked my socks off. He also did Good Will Hunting, which is like so unlike his style. Yeah, right. So it like knocked my socks off that he did this, but it can show that he like has total range. And I think one of his most iconic works is the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I love this. Yeah.
The music while they're going down the fucking
yeah.
And just all the music in that movie I just think is fucking superb, spectacular, totally Danny Elfman vibes. And so I think you also 180 after you do your 50 Shades of Grey and you watch not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the Johnny Depp version. But honestly, watch either.
I think that's great.
And in the way that Christian Grey is abusing Anastasia, Willy Wonka is abusing those children.
You're not wrong.
So, this is a movie. These are both movies about male privilege with wealth, power, and status. And they're using that to their advantage to abuse those below them. So, you know what? I think we have a lot to learn from these films. About power structures. So I say watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, directed by Tim Burton, composed by Danny Elfman. Such a classic duo. I just couldn't believe that he did the music for this movie. It just knocked my socks off. That's my answer.
I think that's one of your best jumps yet.
Thank you. I do love a jump.
I don't even think I can rate this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it sits in that pocket of, like, it's a 0, but we decided to watch it because it's a 0.
Yeah.
So it has some sort of redeeming quality. Like, watching it because of how bad it is the redeeming quality.
Yeah.
So it's like, stuck in that sort of paradox.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's a 2, or it's like,
I'll give it
like a 1
I'll give it 1 point for its soundtrack, and I'll give it a 2nd point for making me laugh, not on purpose. So it's a 2.
Yeah, and I just think they should have shown full cock.
Dude, right? Oh my god. That actor's dick was literally, like, begging to jump out.
I just could not believe watching this movie that I, like, wonder how many takes they had to do. Like, because these two actors, I gotta give it to them. There were moments that I was like, there is no way in fucking hell that I, at my most professional, could ever hold a straight face.
Oh no.
If they were like, the contract, you know, they're like, this acting contract here, it's for $5 million. You just have to do this one scene without laughing. I probably literally could not.
No.
When he says, I don't make love, I fuck
I would have
hard.
I would have lost it. Genuinely.
How can you not go, ah?
I just want Dakota Johnson, if you want to be on the pod, come tell us what filming was like, because this is the only thing I want to know. If I could ask anyone in Hollywood right now, like, one question, it would probably be like, tell me about the experience of filming this movie.
Right? I mean, speaking up with really great things to follow this film with, Dakota Johnson's house tour on the Architecture Magazine YouTube page. Have you seen it?
Oh, I've seen it. All of
Right? It's iconic.
For some reason, it like caught like wildfire on Sapphic Twitter. I don't know why.
Well, it's because she has this beautiful green kitchen, and it was totally at the peak.
Yeah.
The peak of the emerald green kitchen trend.
True, yeah.
And so like it was totally part of that. And in it, she says that she's allergic to limes, but she still loves them, which really caught everyone.
She loves limes. She loves limes. They had decorated her house sort of like, you know how they do or whatever, and they had a bowl of limes, and she's like, oh yeah, I love limes or whatever. And then it was a big thing. She came out and she was like, I'm allergic to limes. Actually, I don't know why I said that. I'm like, I feel you, girl. I've been there when you just, like, talk out of your ass and you're like, oh, God, what? It's like Robert Pattinson telling, like, interviewers, he's like, yeah, I killed a clown.
But so I think watch that. I think it shows off way more of her, because this movie is not her best, and I think that in that interview she's at her best. Also, watch her interview with Ellen where she says, "Actually, Ellen, that's not the truth." Actually, Ellen, that's not the truth. I did invite you to my birthday party. That was the tipping point for Ellen's downfall.
Ellen. She literally dismantled her in like less than like a minute long segment. Not segment, but like talking point.
Yeah, an interview. Amazing. Like, fucking amazing. So yeah, if you're not a Dakota Johnson stan, I totally implore you to get on YouTube and watch some of her interviews, because she's charming, witty. She's totally a nepotism.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, okay, well, this flavor of nepotism, I guess we'll let it fly. I kind of like this flavor. It's like Billy Lord and like Carrie Fisher. It's like, well, this is the best kind of nepotism, so I can let it slide.
No, I think she's charming and good, and I think it's a shame that these movies happened to her. But she's
just recovering. She's literally just recovering from this movie. She's finally starting to get like serious roles. Like, I remember, what was it, like 2 years ago? Like, I saw like, what was it, like Bad Nights at the El Royale or some shit like that.
I really liked that.
I haven't
movie,
seen it,
and I thought she was great in it. I
haven't seen it, but I remember that was like the first thing that I'd seen her like seriously do since like this. And I was like, oh, okay. But now she's like doing a new film with like Olivia Colman, and she's got a couple of things in the works and stuff like that. And she's actually going to have a serious acting career.
Harry Styles?
Huh?
Her and Harry Styles are going to be in that movie together, right?
Fuck it.
The one where he's the gay cop?
No, that's Emma Corrin that's in that with him. She played Princess Diana. Love her.
Yeah. Wait, what
movie is it?
Yeah, what movie are you talking about?
I don't fuck if I know what it's called. It's just this, I don't know. She's in it with Olivia Colman.
Oh, I was thinking of Olivia Wilde.
Oh, no, that's the one. No. Well, the connection there is that he did that movie with Florence Pugh recently. And was it Don't Worry, Darling? Oh. It's because
that's what.
He did like 2 movies like kind of back to back almost. So he did that one, and then he did My Policeman right after it, which I can't wait to. I cannot wait to see both of them. He's in his I don't know, what's the opposite of his flop era.
His top era.
Literally, if he's being a gay policeman.
Grey is a total flop. I can't believe you guys forced both of us to watch this. But honestly, I had more notes for this movie than I almost have for anything.
I know. I was gonna say, I was like, we had a lot of notes for Portrait, but I think this one almost topped it.
Right. Well, honestly, I like my men. I don't even know what this analogy is going to be. The same way I like my, I don't know, whatever else plays sad piano music. I'm workshopping that one.
We'll come back for the stand-up special, and I'm sure we'll hear it in full force.
Right. I can't with the post-coital sad piano music. That was it for me in this film. So
that's your deal breaker. Anal fisting, fine. Sad piano music for sex. No, I gotta go. Can't do it.
All right. So I guess signing off.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to this fucking shit show.
Oh, wait. We almost forgot. We have a drawing to do.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're so right. So we have the drawing. We will get in contact with you before this even drops. We'll probably DM you in real time. Mm-hmm. But so we did. I cannot believe the amazing answers we got. So 2 episodes on our Carol episode, we asked you guys to send in your best guesses for Harge. Carol's husband is named Harge. And we're like, what the fuck does Harge mean? And some of you came at us with some truth, and some of you came at us with some really creative answers, and I loved them. So we were gonna do a polling of just like a drawing of everyone who happened to, what's this month? June? July?
This was for June. This was our June.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is July, but
it's presently. Okay, so
we wanted to we're gonna do like a random polling, but also we're gonna send some people some stuff that just made us laugh really hard.
Yes, we wanted this to be a special like month because we just really appreciate all of the creative and amazing answers that you guys gave us. So so if you can pick a number between, I just counted and I forgot, if you can pick randomly a number between 1 and 15, this will be our random drawing.
Hold up.
Or you could just roll a dice or something.
Random.
Ask Siri.
Random number generator. 1 and 15. Hold on.
Yep.
4.
Okay. Abigail Karas on Instagram. We will be in your DMs shortly. Let me go find. I'll edit this blank space out, but let me go find what their answer was, because
Rinderella. She said Rinderella for Rindy's name.
That's really good.
And then Harge-stuffer for Harge, which I liked. The one that really did it for me for Ringworm was
Ringworm.
Yeah, it was Ringworm. Callan Brennan underscore on Instagram. You're getting something from us because that made me cackle like a motherfucker.
I do have a little star next to both of your names, and then let me go find who sent us that amazing email, because
oh my god, so good.
I like this person. I could not with good conscience sit by and let a random drawing get something without. So Anya Phillips, listener, sent us this amazing email where they wrote a acrostic poem for Harge, where each letter was a different thing. So it was, Harge down the left side, but it was homophobia is his only personality trait, awesome at custody battles, really doesn't deserve Kate Blanchett, gives off cop energy, and exhausting to listen to. For Harge, I cannot believe the comedic thought, time, and devotion that you put into this. Anya Phillips, we will definitely be sending you something as well. You made me fucking crack up, so.
Eggs, bacon, grits, Eva, who sent in for Harge, said hard to be married to, which I really liked.
Oh my god, yeah, that one too knocked my socks off. So we'll DM you and you'll get a little something, a sticker, a tote bag, whatever. And because I could not with your answers. They cracked me up. I genuinely just thought people were gonna like give kind of serious guesses.
A couple did.
I was so pleased. That everyone went the humorous route. You guys are all the exact kind of people we want to be listening to this podcast. So thank you all so much. You made us laugh so much, and we're so glad we chose that really funny question for. I think you came up with it, Emily. I can't believe. Yeah, Harge and Rindy, hard to be married to, and Ringworm, like y'all rock. So.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Well, yeah, we've gone on for probably far long enough.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. And this whole month we'll be doing the most frequently requested movies that you guys have, asked us to cover. So we got this one out of the way. So hopefully some more less creepy things are to come. So stick around, and thank you so much for listening. Be sure to hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Our email is theswamppod@gmail.com. They'll all be in the description below to just send us in your movie requests. We love them for everything. And, like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can write us a review, that's really helpful. And you guys are so awesome. And all of your DMs, emails, everything just, like, totally brighten our day. You're amazing. And thanks for listening.